Well, Jim Scheer, I really appreciate the opportunity to speak to you today. This has been something I've really been looking forward to and interviewing you about your book on loving stories.
Yeah. Well, I'm so glad to be here, Michael, because I think I've got a lot of stories to tell because I've been working off and on in this book for over 30 years.
So is it true you are a storyteller?
Well, I think that would verify it.
Good. Well, let's get in.
Okay, my pleasure.
Let's hear a little bit about loving stories. What's kind of the book generally about in just kind of a
Well,
nutshell?
it has many categories, Michael. It has stories of altruism, people giving away, giving things to others that needy people, and not expecting anything in return, which is great. It's about forgiving, and it's about being non-judgmental, leaving judgment to God instead of taking it ourselves, and celebrities, the way how they love. I Lord,
I read about them all the times in the paper on how they love. Is there more to it than that?
yeah, well, it's not that. I'm not talking about sexual love. I'm talking about really a different type of love. And I've interviewed, as a matter of fact, one of my segments is on my afternoon with an astronaut. I spent an afternoon with James Irwin, the sixth man to walk on the moon, who, when he was there, was just overwhelmed by the presence of God. And it changed his whole life. I interviewed Barbara Cartland in England, in Hatfield, England, who has written more love novels than anybody in the world, and is in Guinness Book of World Records. And she has written so much love. I said to myself, I want to find out if she's just as loving in her real life as she is on paper. And that was one of the reasons I was intrigued by her.
Now, don't you tell a story that some pet stories and one that involved actually one of your pets?
Yes, we did, yes.
Tell me about that.
Well, we had a dog named Roderick, and we just loved it. He was a mongrel. He had at least 57 varieties, like Heinz. And he was pure. Each one of these 57 was a purebred thing. Anyhow, Roderick was a thief. We didn't know that when we got him. He would steal newspapers from other people's porches. He would steal anything that wasn't nailed or screwed down. And he would steal lunches from people where they left, like the pavers of our street. And I had to return some of these, so I was humiliated by him.
Yes.
We loved him, but we called him the thief of Dagenham. This guy was incredible. My mother said, we are a Christian family. We cannot have a thief among us. Even if it's a thief with four legs, he's got to go. And we said, well, we'll reform him. My mother said, well, here's the deadline. If you can't make him change, he's got to go. So we worked on him, and Roderick gave us a special kind of love. He was the most loving animal I've ever known. He would put his paws on your thighs and look up into your eyes. When you were sad, he knew about it. He came to you, and he just looked love into your eyes.
Kind of an unconditional love.
Oh, it was, yeah. So we just did everything, but nothing seemed to work. But I have to leave you in suspense on this, but what happened was the deadline, just before the deadline day, he took matters into his own paws.
It's so easy to get to be where, I think I understand my God and the Lord and the Scripture, and therefore you're not so good. I recall that St. Francis of Assisi, one of his things he liked to say was, preach the gospel daily, use words only when absolutely necessary. So where do you come across on judgment?
I love that quotation. Let me add one thing. There's a quotation that jumps in my mind. We preach a better life, a better sermon with our lives than with our words.
Right.
Wonderful. Well, I have a very light story, well, one of many stories in the judgment section.
Okay.
There was a young man named Dwight. It was in 1909. He graduated from high school, and with 33 others. He was in a small city in Kansas, and he fell in love, as we are prone to do at that age. He fell in love with a flaxen-haired young lady that he thought if he didn't marry her, he would die of love starvation. So he just set his sights. Every minute he had away from his job at the Bell Star Creamery, he would be at Gladys Harding's home. And her father got a little upset about this. He wanted his daughter to marry somebody from the right side of the tracks, and Dwight lived on the wrong side. But he was always there like a shadow. He just didn't seem to be gone any time. And every time he was there, the father of Gladys said, "Gee, he's driving away the eligible rich guys in the community." So one day he had a heart-to-heart talk with his daughter, and he said, "You got to get rid of this guy, Dwight. I don't know how you're going to do it, but get rid of him. We don't want him around here. He'll never amount to anything."
This sounds like the Thief of Baghdad.
Yeah, it's just, well, not quite. Anyhow, Dwight David Eisenhower did amount to something.
Oh, really?
He was the supreme commander of the Allied forces in England in World War II, and he was the 34th president of the United States. And when he died, he did not die of love sickness. He just died a natural death.
What a great story. It sounds like how many stories are in your book?
Should be over 100.
Like over 100 stories. Yeah. And some of the genres you've got, we've got on animals you've spoken about, forgiveness, sinners to saints, altruism, and famous celebrities. Is that kind of the main categories of your book?
Oh, those are the main ones, but not the only ones. No, I'm trying to think now. It's been... I don't think in categories. I think more in the stories themselves. Yeah.
So how is the book laid out? Or each chapter a couple pages or hundreds of pages? Or
they are generally about 2 typewritten pages, but 5 of the stories will be 20 pages long.
Okay, so most of these could be read within like a short reading for a day, kind of inspiration.
Oh yes, you can pick it up anytime. It's not compelling you to read it all in one day.
And what's your writing style like? Would you say it's kind of from a perspective of a third person, or
no? It's in third person actually, but even if I didn't experience the thing, I'm in the person's mind. I living it with him or through him, and it's not preachy. That's the last thing in the world that I would do. Preach. It's just stories. It almost seems it doesn't seem right, but what I'm trying to accomplish is what Jesus did with his parables. I was trying to do the same thing, only modern, even though there's some of the people are involved, or involved were in the Middle Ages or wherever, hundreds of years ago. I still try to keep it in the present and being involved and understanding their problems so that I'm identified in I'm the voice of every segment.
Great. Well, like Jesus, do you walk on water also?
I haven't tried lately.
Maybe it better be frozen anyway.
Thank you, Michael. I wish I had said that. I'll do it.
Well, Jim, it's been great to interview you. Thanks for the time. And anything else you'd like to say before we close?
Well, thank you for the opportunity. I'm just delighted. You asked the best questions that any interviewer has ever asked me about this book, and I'm just so grateful to you and for the opportunity of sharing these love stories that helped me in the writing, helped me to become a better person, and I hope will help millions of people throughout the world to be better persons, to love God and their neighbor more. And if any book will do it, I feel, thanks to the help I've got from another sphere, I think this book will do it, and I thank you again for the opportunity of airing it.
Excellent. Good luck, Jim. Thanks again for your time.
Thank you.